Hey everyone, welcome back for another video of Sunscreen Sunday. In today's video, I am reviewing this sunscreen right here. This is Neostrata's Sheer Physical Protection Sunscreen Broad Spectrum SPF 50 Matte Finish Tinted Sunscreen PA4+. I'm not sure if this is happening in the US or UK, but here in Canada, Neostrata is reformulating and rebranding their entire line. So according to this box right here, this is a new advanced formula, but this will be something I will touch on a little bit later. According to Neostrata's claims, this is a mattifying fluid sunscreen, combines potent antioxidants with a polyhydroxy acid complex to protect and strengthen skin's moisture barrier against environmental aggressors. Formulated exclusively with mineral sunscreen, zinc oxide, and titanium dioxide. This has 7% titanium dioxide and 6% zinc oxide. They claim this is for all skin types, including the most sensitive ones. If you didn't catch it earlier in their very lengthy name, this is a broad spectrum sunscreen covering UVB and UVA. This not only shows the SPF of 50, but this is probably the first Western brand I've seen that actually has given a UVA rating. So it's a PAA rating of 4+. This is also water resistant for 40 minutes and is supposed to have a matte finish. I purchased this for about $33 Canadian and it comes in a 50 ml bottle. In terms of notable ingredients, it did say it has a polyhydroxy acid, which is lactobionic acid, and it also has EGCG as its main antioxidant to fight against the environmental stressors. So as you can hear, this is also a very liquidy consistency. Unlike the Bare Republic sunscreen, however, this comes in a way better packaging. It's not in a tube form where the opening is at the bottom, the dispenser is at the top, and it's also a very small spout, so it's definitely better control for such a liquidy formulation. Fortunately, this doesn't smell like anything, not even a classic sunscreen, so there won't be any lingering aromas on your face. So I shook up this sunscreen for 15 to 30 seconds to make sure the formulation was mixed properly. And just like all the other sunscreens I reviewed, I applied 2 milligrams per centimeter square on my face. So for me, that translates roughly to 64% of a quarter teaspoon. So you can see it's quite runny. And as I'm spreading it out, it looks very shiny and it actually does feel kind of greasy. It's still a light consistency, so the greasy feeling is not too awful, but it might bother some people. I'll get back to the shine in just a second, but just note the fact that it did blend in with my hand's skin tone. However, when I applied this to my face with the 2 milligram requirement for the entire surface area, it did not go over well. The tint did not blend into my skin at all. It did look like I had a gray cast going on, and also just like my hand, it had quite a greasy, shiny finish. With sunscreens, I usually wait 10 to 15 minutes until I apply makeup, but in this case, I waited almost 45 minutes to an hour just to see if it would even dry down to a matte finish. Unfortunately, it didn't dry down, but what I did notice is that after I did my whole makeup routine afterwards, it eventually dried to a matte finish afterwards, and my makeup ended up looking matte. After that initial application, I did feel like I used this incorrectly, so I tried using it again, but with smaller amounts and in layers. So with that second round, it actually ended up looking a lot better. It was definitely not as greasy of a finish. It actually ended up drying down to the matte finish it's supposed to be. However, since my skin is very prone to dryness, this did not go over well with my type of skin. After one layer, my face felt very dry, and when I applied more, it just felt even drier. On top of that, there was still some type of cast on my skin, and it didn't blend out as nicely as you see here on my hand. For the pros of the sunscreen, this is a really nice thin formula with a very light feel. I found even with the thin application, it really evened out my skin tone nicely and reduced any redness that I had on my face. I also appreciate the fact that they labeled this with a PA rating alongside their SPF rating. Now, as you can imagine with the cons, there is definitely a cast. I also don't like that it takes over 30 minutes to dry down, especially if you're in a rush. This is not the sunscreen you want to go for if you're expecting the matte finish that it claims to have. Another con I'm going to mention is actually in terms of Neostrata's marketing. So they said on the packaging that this is a newly advanced formula. However, when I looked at their targeted line that's sold in the US, so it's the green label, the ingredients are exactly the same. From other videos that I have seen, there's a brand called Exuviance, and I believe Neostrata and Exuviance are under the same parent company, and even their sunscreen sunscreen has the same ingredients as this one. So basically there are currently 3 different sunscreens on the market with the exact same formulation, and I believe Exuviance is the cheaper one, or it's maybe Neostrata. I'm not really sure which one it is, but one of them is priced more than the other. As for my in-between feeling, so neither a pro or a con depending how you look at it, despite the cast in this, I find it still performs pretty well underneath makeup, and it can get covered pretty easily from even the lightest formulation like MAC Face and Body to the fullest like the IT Cosmetics CC cream. The other in-between feel is the fact that it does dry down to a matte finish. For me with normal to dry skin, I can't counteract that no matter how much I moisturize, but for those of you with oily skin, you probably will enjoy this one. Overall for me, the Neostrata Sheer Physical Protection SPF50 PA4+ sunscreen was a little bit disappointing. I was actually hoping that this would be a go-to tinted physical sunscreen for days when I did not want to wear foundation. Unfortunately, even at my palest, the cast is still pretty obvious on my skin. I think my undertone's just a little bit too strong for it. Even though the sunscreen didn't work out for me, I know a lot of people where it works out really well and they use this on a daily basis. Instead of it sitting on my skincare shelf and collecting dust, I'm actually going to hand this off to my cousin who's a lot paler than me, and she's also oily skin, so I think she'll appreciate this a lot more. And that is it for this review. I really do hope that you found this video helpful and informative. If you did like this video, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel down below for future videos. If you have any questions about the Neostrata sunscreen or any recommendations for me, please be sure to leave it in the comment section down below, and I will see you all soon. Ciao.